Man, is it nice to have coordinators who know what they are talking about. Today, we dive into the pressers of Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore and discuss what they had to say about how this team can improve this season. Also, we get some way too early predictions on where the Eagles will finish next year. All that and more, but welcome on in. This is A to Z Sports Philly. Do us a favor, leave a like if you do enjoy this content and share it around to a fellow Eagles friend, family member, doesn't even matter. Help us continue to grow. You guys and gals have been killing it. And I have a question for Eagle Nation out there. If I had to ask you right now, I know it's only the beginning of May, but the way too early prediction for next season, where do you think the Eagles are going to finish up? Will they be first, second, third, fourth? Maybe they don't even win the division. Give me your thoughts down in the comment section. Before we jump into the madness, a shout out to our great partner of today's show, and that is BetMGM. Enjoy your favorite sports like never before with BetMGM. Sign up using our code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to parlays, live bets, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. So find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today with our bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Now, if I was a betting man, I would say that Sidney Brown might have a chance to resurge this year. Okay, this clip came out from Eagle practice. I want to start here because they put this out yesterday and said nothing wrong with a little friendly competition. And look, tell me if I'm overreacting, but I'm looking at Sidney Brown right here. Looks like the guy put on some muscle. Looks like he's going up against Kenny G here. And they're having a little friendly competition in practice. But yo, look at Sidney Brown, man. It looks like this guy jacked up a bit. And it feels like he gets thrown into the mix. You know, the back end mix of things when you think about this rebuilt secondary and who the Eagles brought in. But they spent a pretty good draft asset to get Sidney Brown. And he was playing pretty good up until the injury. So I would not put it past him to come out here and have a pretty good season. You know, could he be a solid depth piece for the Eagles? It feels like it may be, you know, a prove it opportunity, prove it year. And we already know with Kenny G, those comments he made the other day, it's time for him to put up or shut up. So we'll see what happens. I do want to mention Jason Kelce has been a great voice in the locker room as well. Shout out to Word on the Birds for putting this out. Jake Elliott was talking with the media and said that Jason Kelce has been in the facility every single day. Now, is that partial, I miss this team, I don't want to go away? Or is it just as good leadership? Or is it the fact that, yo, maybe I could see myself in a coaching role down the line? I think it's a mixture of all three. You know, maybe Jason Kelce comes back week one and says, damn it, I missed this team. I missed the Eagle fans roaring when we run out of the tunnel. And he puts back on the pads and suits up. Am I too crazy? Is that a bold take? Probably. Right? Jason Kelce just signed a deal with ESPN to, be part of the Monday Night Crew. I don't think he's coming back. Man, it would be awesome if he did. And I wish he would be part of what is to come this year. I think it's going to be pretty special. But Jason Kelce, letting his voice be heard, being a good vocal leader in the locker room. Shout out to him. And speaking of vocal leaders, man, I was impressed with Vic Fangio yesterday. It's really just nice to have coordinators again who have the experience and know what they are talking about, okay? And I'm not sitting here saying they're the best in the league, but I feel like last year the Eagles thought that they would be able to replicate the success with Shane Steichen and John Gannon and just say, yeah, we can throw anybody out there and they're going to be able to pick it up. No, that was not the case. The coordinators last year were awful, and it's time for a change, right? It's time for just getting back to more experience. And shout out to Vic Fangio. This is how he entered his presser yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't know you guys can afford a nice phone like that.
Hey, put that
down. All right, who's first? Unless you want a filibuster to begin with.
Just the sense of humor, man. And I feel like there was a lot of narratives about him in Miami, but, why wouldn't he get along with the players? He feels like a guy who's been around the block. He knows how to play the game, coach the game. And, just things like that. Just break the ice a little bit. I think he's going to get along just fine with these players. And Vic Fangio was asked by Dave Zangaro of NBC about the most important elements of his defense. And here's my favorite quote of the day, okay? He says, good players, and I'm not trying to be a wise guy with that. We have a system that is versatile, we like to think. It needs to be versatile because every week you're facing different strengths of an offense, different schemes. So what you play in one week 10, 15 times, you may not play it all the next week. You have to be a versatile system for the offenses today in the NFL. What we will eventually do is learn what our guys are best at. Thank you, Vic Fangio. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that it was rocket science to utilize your players to their strengths, to adapt to the opposing offense, right? One week, you're going to play a team that's not going to run nearly the same things as the team the next week. So I feel like last year, all the Eagles did was rinse and recycle. Rinse, repeat, recycle, right? Same plays, same 15 plays, same 15 plays, same 15 plays. No, you have to adapt, and it's important to be able to pick up on these things and certain tendencies and certain things that teams or players like to do. And Vic Fangio says, yeah, I need good players. You know, you can't put me out there probably like the Eagles did last year with guys that are not dimensional. They're not versatile. They can't do different things on the field. I'm going to coach them up, but we're going to put them in the best situations to succeed. He says, I like to throw a lot at them early because I think one of the worst things you can do is come week 3 and week 5. Man, we could really use this scheme, but it hasn't been introduced to the players yet. Whereas if you introduce it to them in training camp and work on it, when you pull it back out 3-4 weeks later, there's a recall. We'll throw a lot in training camp to see what best fits for them, what they're good at, and then try and whittle it down, but always keep stuff in the bank in case we need it at some point. I love these quotes from Vic Fangio because that is how you need to coach a defense. He's been around a long time. And you have to be versatile. You have to be able to do everything, or at least a little bit good of every little area. And he knows what needs to be done. And I agree. You have to adapt your plays. You cannot just sit there and go off the textbook every single week and just keep trying the same old thing. And that's what the Eagles did last year. They ran it into the ground. They didn't care. They tried to switch their defensive coordinator and everything blew up. Vic Fangio also says that he would have been here a year earlier if the timing had worked out. That's right. Remember that whole John Gannon thing, and he interviewed, and then he pretty much tried to say he didn't, and then he waited, and then he took the job. Meanwhile, Vic Fangio went to Miami. He wants to be here, man. Vic Fangio wanted to bring it full circle, come back to Philadelphia to end his career, and he's finally here with a chance to do something special. A lot of pressure on the line. And he was asked about the Eagles having the least amount of practices in the NFL last year. Quote, you got to make do with what you got, but I keep pushing for more. Did you push for more this offseason before coming here? Quote, I'll let Nick answer that. So Vic Fangio wants more practices. He wants these guys in the mud. I don't think they should overdo it, but Vic Fangio wants these guys meshing together, getting that time to build chemistry and learn the plays and, really have that opportunity to just go out there in game-like situations and narrow things down, right? And hone in on certain, situations or skills. So look, I like this answer from Vic Fangio, and I think he wants to get down and dirty. So I'm ready to rock. Speaking of ready to rock, Kellen Moore is ready to rock. Here's what he had to say about his early conversations with Jalen Hurts.
Your first impressions of Jalen and how it's unique to guys like Dak and Justin Hurts?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Jalen's process. So far, I think really it's focused on how he processes the game and just kind of the classroom aspect of it, and we're beginning the field process of really getting out on the field and being able to do this thing. But I've really enjoyed our conversations. I think he's a really smart player. He has a great feel for this game. The more conversation we have, the more we get to make these adjustments and build off of this thing. But Jalen's one of the premier quarterbacks in this league for a reason. And you see it, on film previously, but obviously getting on the field now, you're certainly seeing it.
Yeah, you've seen it firsthand, that's for sure, with the Dallas Cowboys. And I like how he's building that rapport with Jalen Hurts. Definitely important to have that good connection. Shane Steichen was such an underrated piece. He was such a connector in a lot of different ways. And you saw what he did with Indianapolis last year. So, the Eagles need a solid coordinator. I know Jalen has had a lot of bouncing around to different coordinators, but hopefully Kellen Moore can be that guy. And I love that he says he will bring motion and pre-snap motion to the Eagles offense and wants to show the defense different alignments and different looks. Talks about his history and how he grew up with it. And he says, obviously, there's advantages to it. There's some things you're trying to gather info for the defense. And then there's other times you're simply stressing the defense. More confusion, throw them off. Eagles did none of it last year. They were so predictable. They were so one-dimensional. It just got really, really bad with Brian Johnson. And I love how Kellen Moore says, as a play caller, you have to learn from every experience and you have to continue to evolve. And man, it seems like he's a brilliant mind. So we'll see it when week 1 rolls around on the field, but so far all the right things are being said. Lastly, the NFC East is lining up like this. You tell me what you think. I don't think it's even a question. I think the Eagles have by far the best squad when it comes to paper. I would almost say Washington may be, able to fight up there for number 2. Am I crazy to think that? I'm going Eagles, maybe Washington at number 2. Don't know if they can sneak up there yet. But NFL on Fox put this out. NFC playoff prediction, way too early edition. And they got the Eagles at number 1. I think they're right there. I think Eagles are 1 or 2 next season. They're fighting for a deep playoff spot to try to get back to the Super Bowl. And I don't know about the rest of these predictions, like the Falcons and the Bears. I don't know. Dallas, I don't know. But what I do know is I like that right there. First round bye, baby. Get that first round bye. Give your guys a chance to get healthy like you did 2 years ago. And if it works out like this, nobody will be complaining. Hopefully the Eagles can get it done. Give me all your thoughts, though, down below in the comments section on all of this and more. Appreciate you guys for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And Eagle Nation, it's always go Birds. Catch you on the next one. Peace.